if you start off by just introduce yourself, what you do, and then we'll go in the depth of it as well.
Do you want me to edit and upload it as well?
Yeah, that would be ideal because the last one took me 7 hours.
Where do you want me to look?
You can
look
just
at
talk
you?
to us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not at the cameras. Try
No.
this like
Yeah, okay. My name's Molly Cook, 31 years old,
29.
29 plus 2. I own the Hair Extension Cave in Salisbury. I am the president of the Salisbury Young Chamber.
That's a new thing as well.
That's a new thing, the last week. I have 2 children, a girl and a boy. And I spend my whole time working or being a mum. There is nothing else to me.
Like that. Yeah. Right, that's done.
Yeah, see you later.
Don't forget you've also got a Liam.
I've got a Liam. I do have a Liam. Everyone knows I have a Liam, though.
Yeah.
Who's a Liam?
Yeah, I have a Liam. My partner.
Okay.
My partner.
Nice.
Who renovated this whole salon
Yeah.
to what it is. So, yeah, he's very good.
It was.
Everyone should have a Liam.
Yeah, it was about not even a year ago that I was doing video in this room when it was just empty with nothing in it and lots of stuff on the floor,
And
tools
would you
and
have
everything.
thought that room... I remember saying to you, this is like the nicest room in here. Would you have thought it would be your room?
Never. No.
Your room?
No. At that point, I don't think I thought anything was going to happen. So
So yeah. Well, obviously, this used to be Starbucks, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then at some point, Dan's going to do behind the scenes and go down onto the floor below, which looks way bigger than when I remember the Starbucks.
Yeah.
You know what I think?
yeah.
What's it?
Yeah.
Do you use that bit downstairs for much?
Training academy, photography studio, hair loss injections,
Okay.
a beauty room and a bathroom.
All in the bit below us.
Just the floor below, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, there's quite a lot that goes on. You know, when I first did the video, it was like every room had something different.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's a
there's
big
a
spot.
bathroom where you can wash your hair as well, which is great.
That was Liam's idea.
Did this used? What did this used to be back when? Because I swear that.
What, Starbucks?
Yeah.
This was a staff room,
Was it?
and when we got it, they didn't even need whiteboards. They wrote their staff training on the wall. So we had to paint over
Wow.
that, yeah.
It's probably an improvement on what's up there now, but
I'm so offended.
That was funny because that was exactly where it was.
Was it? I've just been doodling on that
you
one.
just
Well,
doodled over it. haven't you?
you have to paint over that again.
The person who did that had an absolute field day, didn't they?
Yeah.
That's quite cool, though.
It is wicked.
So just on the note of you and your business and everything, obviously you started, and I've heard the story a few times just from filming your videos, but you started in a shed, and I think that's as far as you've gone into it, is that you started in a shed. So
Yeah, I think it's one of those things of you repeat it so many times that you end up making it smaller and smaller every time. So you're like, yeah, I had a shed, now I have a shop. But I feel like I should elaborate a little bit more on it. So I used to work for a double glazing company, and I was so good at my job. I somehow
In Salisbury?
started in Southampton, moved to Bournemouth, and then I took over a branch in Salisbury, and I was branch manager by the age of like 18. So I did really well. And then I got pregnant, and I had so many emotions and hormones, shall we say, that when I'm selling Mr. Patterson, who's 80 years old, a conservatory that he would never use, I just said to him, you don't need this conservatory. You know, you're not even going to go in it. So I decided to leave that job, funnily enough, because it was commission paid.
Did you leave, or were you pushed because you were telling people not to
I
take
probably bit of both.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I'm just going to live my best pregnant life. I had somewhere to live with Octavia's father, and it was really nice and comfortable, and I thought, this is great, for about a week. And then I was like, I could actually do something I really want to do rather than just do something that makes a lot of money. And I always wanted to do hair, but trying to tell my parents, which were like massive business entrepreneurs who were doing really well and really successful, that I wanted to be a hairdresser was not the one.
Yeah.
Was there an expectation that family business and stuff, and you would work with them, or
1,000%. It was made very clear that I wouldn't need any GCSEs. I wouldn't need anything because I would be going into the family business, and so would my brothers and so would my sisters. So when I told my dad I wanted to be a hairdresser, I actually couldn't say the words on here that he said back to me. But
I mean, you could.
Yeah,
it might get bleeped out, but
shit.
So I always wanted to be a hairdresser. I always knew I wanted to be a hairdresser. That was my second job of choice. I actually wanted to be a stripper. First of all,
I didn't know that.
Because I got brought up in the bike shows. So the bike shows are where all the bike crews go round to different places, and my parents had a bike stall. So we used to sell T-shirts to the Hells Angels. My dad used to airbrush their T-shirts and their bikes, and we would just travel wherever they went. And that was our lifestyle. So the only pretty women I seen were the strippers that were on stage. So when I grew up, I seen them and I said I wanted to be a stripper. In 1999, we moved to Salisbury. We went to the Upside Down barbershop. My mum took me for a haircut, and the lady said to me, "What do you want to be when you're older?" And I said to her, "I want to be a stripper." And she said, "No." Because I was about 10, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
say, well,
I was very young.
That's
Probably even
than
younger.
that,
8,
yeah.
bless you, Molly.
And she then decided to say to my mum, to call my mum over to say, she wants to be can you repeat what you just said? And she's like, yeah. My mum, like, she didn't care. Yeah, okay, cool. So that was my first career path choice, but then that soon changed. I then decided I loved hair. That was a no-go. So then obviously the future was going into my parents' business. But then I moved away when I was 15 to Southampton, and then ended up in a double glazing job. Then moved back to Salisbury, got pregnant, and decided to do something I really love. So I wanted to do hairdressing, but hairdressing, I could not do a standard cut and colour all day. It would bore me. But hair extensions, I have a passion for. I've loved them. I have them. I see people wear them. They're great. So I then decided to do some hair extensions, but only to earn a little bit of money on the side, a little bit of...
From your shed.
From the back garden. Like, it was like a summer house. And I imagined that I would just do a bit of hair here, go into the house, make some lunch, be pregnant, have the baby, not do it so much. But I loved it so much. I would do it every day. I had people knocking at the door saying, "Can you do my hair?" And I didn't even have business cards made. So I just wrote down on the back of a receipt some random prices and gave it to them. And for some reason they came back.
Yeah.
And it just snowballed from there.
The story sounds better when you say shed, though. You should definitely keep it a shed.
It is a shed.
Because I just imagine, like, a tiny little shed.
A garden shed with...
Well, it had windows and a door, so I think it would be a summer house.
Still,
well, there you go.
That's you've improved to now, obviously, where you are. So you went from shed to... Did you then move to the market stall... and that little shop?
No, I had a shop in Brown Street that I shared with a taxi rank because I had no money. So what happened was everyone kept coming...
That's an interesting collaboration.
Have a taxi whilst getting your hair extensions.
Everyone kept coming from Salisbury. And they kept saying, "Molly, can you please just open a shop up in Salisbury?" And I was like, "I'm about to have a baby." Like, no, not really. Anyway, I spiral. I had the baby, had Octavia, and I was like, yeah, I'll open a shop up in Salisbury. But did I have the money to open up a shop in Salisbury? Absolutely not. So I found somewhere to rent, which was a shop, which was at night time, it was a taxi rank, and in the daytime, it could be my salon. So in the daytime, it was a salon, and at night time, I put the board up and it turned into a taxi rank.
That's quite cool.
And it was really good. And I had a chair in there, a mirror, sink, and it was perfect. It was just what I needed. I did some hair, and I took Octavia to work with me every single day.
Was it just you at this point?
Yeah, just me. I couldn't afford any sort of childcare at all. So my customers knew if they came to me, they're holding the baby. And I'll do their hair. And if they didn't want to hold the baby, they could go somewhere else. It was as simple as that. So, yeah, that was good.
Can I book in? Yes. Do you also like babies?
Yeah. And she was so good. She just slept all day, which was brilliant for me. With my second child, Otto, I could not do that at all. But Octavia was just so easy, and she slept. And then, at most I'd have to change her nappy and give her a bottle, and it was so easy.
That's so good.
That's brilliant. Yeah,
And so you were there for like 3-4 years?
No, I was in Brown Street probably for less than a year.
Oh, wow.
Because the taxi company, which was all the Sevens, did so well. They then got an airport company, which then needed to use it in the day. And they were so polite. I know they needed me to go, but they didn't want to say it. And I knew it, and it was kind of like the elephant in the room. And I was like, do you need me to go? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, that's fine, I'll go. But I actually had nowhere to go. Yeah. So I ended up renting a chair in a hair salon. So I've gone from owning my own shop to then renting a chair in a salon.
Was there no other options once or was that just so convenient that there wasn't anything? It was
just, I needed to go somewhere really soon. Mm-hmm. So I ended up renting a chair. And it was brilliant for me at the time because I ended up breaking up with my daughter's father, and I actually ended up in a hostel.
Oh, wow.
So even though I had a shop and everything looked fine, behind the scenes, everything was falling apart.
Yeah.
So I wanted, what would be the normal thing would be, obviously, if you break up with a partner, you'd go and rent a house, which I had the money to, but I was a self-employed single mum. Nobody would let me rent anywhere.
I can confirm. So it's the sad part of it, really. Is that there's a lot of people that get involved, situations like that, which you can never predict. You can never, and the system is just designed against helping people who probably need it the most. So yeah,
it's so against. And I remember going to so many different places to say, "Can I rent this?" No chance. I wasn't employed. I couldn't prove, but I worked, and I had not loads of money, but I had enough money to pay for my rent. But they didn't care about that. I remember trying to rent shops, and I went to a Middleton and Major, and they showed me a shop opposite Everyman Cinema.
Can you believe that, by the way? What? That name that she just said.
I will. I will never forget this. I went and viewed a shop, and I had so much money saved up because I'd been grafting because I knew I needed a shop, and I said to them, "Yeah, brilliant." And they started asking me a few questions. They asked me some questions that were like quite invasive and nothing to do with the property. Like, do you have a partner? I said no. And I took my daughter with me because she came everywhere. So they were like, you're a single mum. And I was like, right, brilliant, I'll take it. And they said to me, you're not the right criteria for this shop. You are not, we won't accept you. They didn't even look at my bank statements. They didn't even see if I could afford it.
Sounds like the profession I work in.
Yeah,
so
crazy.
I was just left, right and centre. Everyone was saying no. So I'm in a hostel. I've lost my shop. And I'm now renting a chair in a salon. Someone else, my friend's salon, which it was great because I could continue to do my clients. Then somebody that worked there was going to a new premises on the Market Square. So went over there and just rented a room. And then from that renting a room, I was like, I have to have my own shop. Like, I am currently on the first floor of a recruitment company, renting a room, cutting hair, doing hair extensions on carpet. You can't even sweep hair off carpet. It's in
That's not ideal, is
you
it?
can't even get the pram, it's up the stairs. My customers have children, you can't even get the pram up the stairs, and it was a nightmare. So I had to get my own shop, and luckily I went and viewed a shop on Fishton Street, and I took it that day. It was a company that I can't obviously name. I can't name names, can I? But they took a chance on me, which was amazing. And we signed, sealed, delivered, and I was in there, and it was the start of something amazing. But I only have that because they took a chance on me. Everybody sees oh, Molly, she's got this shop, she's got that shop, it's amazing. But they don't see how many no's I got until I got my yeses. I think in business, persistence is key, and you just have to keep going. And I get excited when I get a no, because I know in my mind I'm probably going to get about 50 no's before I get a yes. So when someone says no, I say, brilliant, click that one off the list, go to the next one.
Ask another 49.
Yeah, ask another 49 times.
Yeah.
And it's fine. So then Fishton Street began, and then that just exploded.
Yeah, because you weren't even there at Fisherton Street for that long before you moved to here, were you?
I
How
took
long
a
was it?
5-year lease, and I only ended up doing, I only ended up doing 3 years of it. But I still paid for the 5. But I got too eager and ended up coming here.
Yeah.
So I had
Was that
two
because the opportunity
premises.
was too good to turn down? I guess this is obviously a pretty prime spot, isn't it?
Well, I have this thing where to motivate myself, I have to look at things that I can't have. So I look at things that I can't afford. This shop came on sale, oh God, probably as soon as Starbucks closed down, which was about 8 years ago, believe it or not.
That's right.
And it went up for sale. And I remember contacting the company that was selling it. And I said, I really want to go and have a look. So they arranged for me to meet the estate agent and show me around, and I'm pretending that I could afford it, and absolutely not. But I'm looking around and thinking, yeah, I mean, it seems all right. But in the back of my mind,
It seems all right.
I know I can't afford it at all. Anyway, he called me up and he said, I'm so sorry, we've just sold it. And I was like, that's such a shame. It's like, it's okay. What's meant to be will be. And then I obviously got the shop in Fisherton Street, which did me really, really well. We outgrew Fisherton Street so fast. I outgrew that in a year, but I had attachment issues. I couldn't let it go. It was my baby. So I had the plan of, I knew shops were dead. I knew I needed to expand. I was going to go to a industrial estate, and I was going to basically do what Manchester are doing, but in Salisbury. So up north, they have big units and they turn them into shops. But legally, you can only have a front area, which is a reception. And then when they go behind, you've got rooms which are like beauty rooms, hair rooms, storage rooms. And it's a lot...
Like warehouse style?
Warehouse, yeah. It's like an industrial unit, and it's a lot cheaper to do. It's a lot better and it's a lot more affordable. But everyone kept saying, no, you need to be on the high street. Salisbury needs you to be on the high street. The high street will die. Not because I wasn't there, but because of if you do it, other people will copy sort of thing. So I went to view a industrial unit. I loved it. And my solicitor, I said, yeah, I'll take it. My solicitor drew up the contract. And as I was leaving the shop on Fisherton Street to go and do the last signature that my solicitor needed for that industrial estate, the unit on the industrial estate, I had a phone call.
Like nearby?
It was just in Churchfields.
Okay, yeah.
I had a phone call from the company to tell me that 39 Silver Street has just become available again. As I was leaving the door to sign, I get that phone call. Now, bear in mind, the last time I viewed that would have been 4 years ago.
Oh, wow, okay.
So that, I believe everything happens for a reason. And I took the phone call, and I wasn't even going to take the phone call. The receptionist took the phone call and said, Molly, someone wants to speak to you. I was like, I'm busy, I'm planning my future. This is the best revolutionary thing I've ever done, and I'm going to do it. And she just looked at me and was like, oh, it was a guy called Matt. Matt needs to speak to you. And I was like, okay, I don't know who Matt is. But I was like, all right, come on, give me the phone. It was like, Molly, 39 Silver Street's just become available.
Did you know, so 39, did you know immediately what he was talking about?
I knew.
So you remembered?
And I was like,
We have a problem.
And I never went to sign the lease.
Wow.
Did you just not turn up? They're still waiting there now.
Yeah, they're still waiting there now. It was during lockdown, so they said to me, you have to go to the estate agents, you have to pick up the keys, and you have to go and show yourself around. So I took the keys to this place, and it was a dive. Not only were all the ceilings ripped down, but it had no electricity and no water.
We're in here?
No plumbing, nothing.
Wow.
Everything was ripped down because in contracts, in long leases, So a lot of people have leases, so they rent, but they're long leases. So you have a lease for such a long period of time. Obviously, you know that it is like yours, but it's not really. But when you leave that lease, you have to put it back to exactly how it was. So when Starbucks came, they put in aircon units and more electricity and more plumbing than they did do when they first got it. So they had to rip it all out. They pay companies to come around and rip it out. So when they rip it out, they don't think, oh, I'll go up into the loft and I'll take the wiring out all nicely. They make holes in the ceiling and they pull it down. And the aircon units, there's just big holes. And there was a lift in here as well, like a lift to take food up and down. So that was ripped out. There was holes everywhere.
Where was that?
You should have
Over
kept the
that
lift.
side. Yeah, over
That's
that
cool.
side.
You could have sent some food up to him. He's hungry. Dan,
I'd try and fit myself in it. That's the problem.
yeah. That's quite crazy. And so did you know? Was there just that gut feeling that when you got the call about 39 Silver Street, you were like, "Hey, that's the
I
badger."
couldn't afford it still, and I got the keys because I'm delusional, and I showed myself around. I was on my own, and it was an absolute mess. And I was like, "This is amazing. And there's no ceiling. There's walls are ripped. There's no electricity. There's no plumbing." I was like, "This is the best thing ever. I can't wait to take this on."
That's good. You've got that mind, that sort of mind that you can just see exactly what you want it to look like.
But you have the people that would pay more for things to be furnished and for it to be decorated. And then you have the people that will pay less to have a larger area of space. I am that person. I want a doer-upper. Like, it was amazing. I'm going to take it. I absolutely can't even afford the deposit, let alone the rent or the refurbishment. But if I say yes,
I've done something silly.
Yes, it's going to make me work harder to get more money to have it. So I said yes, I signed it. It was my 28th birthday present to myself.
Nice. I do think there's an interesting nugget in there, though, that sometimes that when you start a business, because again, we talked about this, didn't we, about comfort zone and you need to feel that jeopardy. You almost, because as you said, like when you're comfortable, when you know the money's coming in, you can take a day off. You can take a couple of days off. You might not, but you can. Whereas at that start, it's like, oh God, like I've just taken a huge jump and I now have to, do you know what I mean? And so there's this weird thing where I think us humans, we don't know we've got that strength in us. You know what I mean? To actually go, okay, I've just done something a bit rogue, but do you know what? I can actually do it, and evidently you have, because you've put what you've got. So
I'm addicted to that feeling of uncomfortableness, putting yourself in a situation that you can't get out of. I love it.
So,
that's
what
not,
have I done?
it's not a common thing, though, is it? To love that feeling of.
No. I don't think it's a common thing in the general public. I think it's a common thing with entrepreneurs. It's a common thing with business people. Like that's exactly.
Well, I don't know. I didn't love it. I did not love it when I.
That's a good point.
We're sadists. You're not.
That's such a good point that you bring up, because we shouldn't glorify entrepreneurship. So many people only give you the best parts. And they say, I've got this shop, I've got this car now. They don't tell you the truth, like of how uncomfortable it is, about how many times I'm in Tesco in the reduced aisle because I've just spent so much money on a new property or a new shop or a new lease or some hair that I can't actually afford to eat. But nobody would tell you that because they want to glorify it. Like, glorifying it is popular. The truth is, you're either an entrepreneur or you're not. And if you are an entrepreneur, you don't mind putting yourself in those situations. And if you're not, and you're following the crowd because it looks fun, you won't last.
Agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that. I think.
Hopefully, I'm not. Hopefully, I'm not following the crowd.
I mean, you're only doing it because I baited you out.
You're definitely not. You've always had a business mindset.
Yeah, I've always had a business of some kind. So it was just that uncomfortable bit that I was so like, I'm not doing that. That's too uncomfortable.
Because, do you know the story about how like I told him that I would give him some work, and then he handed in his notice, and then I didn't. and he was like,
I'll invest. I'll do this.
But then even so there was you, and then there was me as well. And I was proper pushing him.
You were, Well, it was, and to be honest, when I first came here, it was, and you put it on the table, and that was the first I ever.
I made it so you couldn't have an excuse.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, you did make it so it was very difficult. You basically had a contract ready. Like, you can have that room upstairs. And I said, this little one down here is nice. That one that was next to yours.
He kept trying to say to me, so we've got oh my God. So we have this tiny office next to my office that you can fit, like you couldn't even fit a normal table in there. Like you can fit a chair and a tiny table. And he was like, I really like this one. I'm like, what? He was like, this is the one. Like, this is the one. So I took him upstairs to this room and I said, look how nice it is. You've got the best view of Salisbury. You could do this, you could do that. And he's like, yeah, it's nice. But I really like that room. Like he was trying to talk himself out of it. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Well, I thought this is big. Like, and I thought, to get started, I better start in a small room. I've been working under my stairs, so I'm fine with that room. Was like a massive expansion.
Well, you went from a 2x2 to a 6x2.
Yeah. But so initially that was my thoughts, but obviously now, and I don't think we'd be able to fit the podcast.
Imagine all of us down there now in the podcast room. You're like, hello everyone.
That could have been our niche.
No, it's
tiny podcast room.
This is a really good space, and I must say I never realised how. I think because when you used to come in when it was Starbucks, it was like there was just tables and seats, and you never really. But it's massive.
Yeah, I know how much you love this room because when I first came in it, you were like,
I was fuming. I was like,
I want this.
Yeah. I was saying, if I'd come in here and Dan was like, right, I'm going, I'd be like, Molly, I'll have it, because
Actually, no. Let's just rewind there. What you actually said was, if I go downstairs and offer Molly more money, would she chuck you out?
Yeah, I think I did.
I was like, no, definitely not.
Would you?
No, I wouldn't.
Oh,
no.
Okay, yeah.
We've got a contract that I made him sign. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were.
When he was trying to make, trying to take the small room, but no.
So
of course, because I'm nice.
How much would I need to get down out of the contract?
We've got some other rooms. They're really nice. I'll show you.
Yeah, I need them. I do need space. So
this is the third episode in a row where we need something. You're like, yeah, I need an office. No.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, no, I think we're just getting on people who have got what we need. It's
Yeah,
not coincidence.
No.
We've got 2 other rooms. Yeah. You'll be fine.
What do you think of this, by the way?
Yeah. I'm glad you paid £200 and you didn't have to take off the beard.
I know, yeah, I really couldn't. It was too much. And that's not cheap to keep my beard.
So you paid money to keep the beard?
Yeah, I paid £200 to make sure I get the beard.
Yeah,
we had a meeting yesterday. Was it yesterday?
Yeah.
Like really important, serious business meeting. All that. I just couldn't stop staring at your hair, and it's not even that big a change, but it's just different.
What, in a good way?
I think
in a good way. Yeah.
I think it looks better, to be fair.
Yeah,
and I just
actually,
wanted to
everybody has
touch
said
it.
that it does look.
You look like you look a bit Ukrainian bouncery, but it does look better.
I don't know if I think it's a compliment. I'll take that.
You look a bit more gruff
Security
and manly.
Yeah.
My mum normally calls
guard.
me a tramp, so it was
wasn't it Ben from downstairs that came up?
Ben from downstairs came up and
he's still working now.
I actually think he's legitimately the hardest working person I know.
It used to be me, and then I met Ben.
Yeah.
There's not been one day where I've finished, because I've finished quite late, quite a few days, and there's not been one time where I've beaten him. He is always there.
Yeah, we left here at like 7:45 the other day, and like there's a perception, isn't there? It's what you were saying about entrepreneurship. Like these things only work with great members of staff, don't they? I've got obviously Debs now; she's amazing. You've got the likes of Ben. You got to have people to rely on. But every time we leave here post work, he's never not there,
No.
just talking away and.
Notifications at 12:30, so midnight, to say there's action on the cameras. So we're like, oh no. What's going on?
It's Ben.
He's there doing someone's hair. And if he was employed, I would be in prison. Do you know what I mean? But luckily he's self-employed. He rents his chair. He does whatever he wants. But I'm like, this is bad. Like, Ben, you need to take some time off. He's like, no, I'm all right.
Yeah, he doesn't seem fazed by it. I think he loves it that much.
He is so
9 o'clock
passionate.
on a Saturday?
Yeah. He loves it.
What, they did my hair?
Yeah.
No, it was 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock.
He messaged me and said, you should do it at like 2 o'clock in the morning. I'll come at 2 o'clock in the morning. You need to keep them entertained.
Ben, stop.
I think he's like nocturnal or something.
But he is, I would say Ben is the male version of me. Wow. Like, having him in the salon, the way that he talks, the way that he works, like he's so passionate He loves everything he's doing. He has so many ideas. He is an amazing entrepreneur. It's like he is his own brand. And he's just like us, but his brand. I had customers, so he moved from one salon to here. And when he moved from another salon to here, he didn't even advertise it. He doesn't even have a Facebook business page, right? And he is booked up for how many months? And then we've got these ladies coming in the salon. Is Ben here? Is Ben here? And like, not only will they come in the salon and there's a receptionist there to greet them, but they will run to the back of the salon to see Ben when he's washing a lady's hair, saying, "Can you please get me in? Can you please get me in?" Like
Famous Ben.
He's just amazing at what he does. It's because he's got a passion for what he does. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's the key, isn't it? Is if you've got a passion for it, then you're going to be good at it, and you're going to be booked up.
Yeah.
That's the
if
thing,
you care and you've taken the time to learn the skill, and you can give that to someone, you're going to do well. But unfortunately, because of entrepreneurship has been glamorized so much, people assume that they can offer a service, not really care about it too much, hype it up on social media, loads of followers, and then the money will just come to them. It's not true. You have to create...
That was sort of my business strategy, to be honest.
You need to be able to fix someone's problem. They have a problem, you need to know what it is, you need to fix it and fix it well. That's a business.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Yeah,
I agree with that. Because I think obviously because you do quite specialist stuff, don't you? As you said, like you can go to plenty of places and get a. I'm going to expose myself for a lack of knowledge here, but like a cut and a colour and a, But you're obviously specialist in a lot of stuff that other people don't do. Like
alopecia and hair loss.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is that? I guess that's obviously quite a sensitive, emotional thing for a lot of people. So I can understand how they have that connection with Ben and with you that maybe you wouldn't have with, because actually you're solving quite an important problem, not just a problem.
We're with them from the moment they get a diagnosis of cancer to all their chemotherapy treatments to after when their hair grows back. So when we're giving someone a haircut, it's not just a haircut, it's probably that they've got chemo curls now because their hair's grown back and it's completely different to what it was. And we have been with them through the whole process. Or someone's got alopecia, they wake up one day and their hair falls out. Who do you go to? You can't really go to your normal hairdresser because yes, they'll be able to cut it in a way that looks right, but we can actually help your hair grow back. We can do everything for you. We have the solution to your problem, but at the same time, we have so much empathy, so much skill, and we're just there. That's why Ben's so amazing as well, because he's not just so good at his job, he's so passionate as well. And when someone comes in and they're so nervous, it takes, on average, a customer books 3 times downstairs before they come in.
Right, okay,
because
so
the first 2,
oh wow,
they can't bring themselves to come in. So on average, it's their 3rd appointment where they come in. And if you were to look at the cameras, you would see the customers come up to the door and go because they are so scared. So to walk in that door takes so much. And when they come in the door, they're fine because they see that we're all a bit spicy, so we're all a bit weird, and we're really loving, and there's no malice and there's no bitchiness to my salon. That is what I love the most. There's no he said, she said, did you see what Tanya's wearing today? It's just it is a salon with a completely different spin. So we are there for you. We understand you're going through something and we're going to be there with you. And we're going to come to your wedding. We're going to come to your birthday party. We're going to be there at your child's christening. Like, we are very always there, connected. We have a good connection.
You do become friends with clients, don't you?
Yes.
I think if you do your job properly, whether it's friends to the point where, again, because of the emotional connection with what you're doing, I can absolutely totally see how you help someone through the hardest point in their life, and they want you at their wedding, at their child's christening, because you've helped them through such an important stage. But I think generally that's really important, isn't it? If you make that connection, people will go, okay, do you know what? I see Molly as a friend now. If I see you out, I'll say hello. If it's not just a professional relationship.
We're friends whether you like it or not. We're not a business transaction. We are to some extent, but we are your friend. I'm not just being friends with you for money. Like, we are genuinely friends. Does that make sense?
100%.
And I think a lot of people see customers as a business transaction, and that's not the case. You have
I
to
feel,
be close.
I feel like that's the best thing about social media is it's enabled people like us three to be able to get to the end user, the public, because I think like the corporate world is, I guess there'll always be corporate banks and supermarkets and things, because you can't, there's a certain need that we all have. But I don't know, I just feel like us being able to connect with the people we want to do business with, that it's just on a level where...
Yeah, it's much more of a personal level.
Yeah,
we have the option to do things like this. And
yeah, I always said, if I looked after the clients look after your bank account. Do you know what I mean? And obviously, look, we've got bills to pay and we don't have jobs, we have businesses, so like you've got to earn some money. But I do think that, I said the moment I start treating somebody as if they're a pound note, that's when you just want to liquidate it and move on.
1,000%. Right. As soon as if you're going into business to become rich, you will not become rich. To some extent, that is. But if you go in and you want to find a problem and then you have the solution, then you have a business. But going back to social media, I remember when Facebook came about and everyone was a bit shy to use it. Everyone would say happy birthday to someone, or they'd write them a message, or and they wouldn't use it. I was an absolute psychopath with it.
Flogging windows.
I utilised it so much that I added every single person who lived in Salisbury on my Facebook.
Shall I go back?
This was 10 years ago, mind. Nobody used it for anything. Everyone was a bit nervous. They didn't want to do anything that was out of whack because it wasn't cool. I added every single person that lived in Salisbury. I made posts, and not only did I make posts, I tagged 89 people because that was the maximum amount of people. And
everyone's like, oh, not okay.
Yeah, everybody was sick of me. But the truth is, if they were so sick of me, they would have deleted me, so I couldn't tag them. I went for it. And it's about doing things that push you out of your comfort zone and feel a bit awkward. That moment of awkwardness, you know you're doing something right because you're doing something that someone else isn't. I'm tagging people, I'm uploading pictures, I'm doing everything that I possibly can that other people wasn't. And if I didn't, someone else would.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Michael checked in at the breakfast table, eating cornflakes 3 hours later.
That's similar to what the podcast. This podcast that we've started, because there isn't really anything good in sort of like the local area that does a similar thing. So we thought, this could actually, catch the end user out a little bit and be like, oh wow, this is different. And they're talking about stuff in Salisbury.
I think this isn't a money thing. This is just this costs quite a lot, actually.
Indirect marketing, actually, it's very good though, because Salisbury needs something like you. Salisbury,
thank you,
is.
You're talking to me.
Oh. We have so many passionate entrepreneurs. We have not a lot of. I have to be very careful with what I say right now. We don't have a lot of help from our council at all. Absolutely nothing. And even the money that we give in business rates doesn't even go to Salisbury Council. It goes to Wiltshire Council. Yeah. So even the money that we pay to be a business here doesn't even go back to us indirectly in some way at all. We are by ourselves. It is a struggle. So something like this is so important because of you get to promote Salisbury businesses, and Salisbury businesses, because the entrepreneurs have tried so hard and we're trying so hard, we get to then promote ourselves through you. Your business is then promoted through this as well, which is indirect marketing. It's genius.
He's going to get so many clients from this.
You don't have to say it on every podcast.
No, this is going to become a thing. You can just edit it on every podcast. Every single person that comes in is going to be like, obviously you guys
mine's already my customer.
Yeah, no, I know. I know. This is different, but yeah, no, I obviously definitely I think it, but I don't think there's an appreciation enough for the stuff that you've talked about, which is the grind you go on behind the scenes. Yeah. Especially for. I guess I get this quite a lot with, houses are very glamorous. Everyone loves videos. Everyone loves like, oh my God, what a lovely 5-bed detached house. Great. But you don't see the house that went through yesterday where it was a mess and they didn't clean it properly. You don't see the phone call at 10 at night saying, we think we're going to pull out. We're supposed to complete, you just don't see it. And so I think that if we knew how hard local Salisbury people worked to keep these businesses open in our town, I think we'd be more inclined to spend money with them.
Yeah.
And we'd be more inclined. Do you know what I mean? So that's what we think. Yeah.
And people go, they see something online and it's £8, or they'll go and buy it in a shop for £12. And they think, I'll save £4. Or it's the same price, or it's easier to buy it online and get it delivered. If they've seen the story behind it of they've tried and they've tested the manufacturers and they've made sure that they've come from, safe places, safe testing, no child labour, all of that. If they've seen that, they would pay that £12. That is what you guys are going to do. You guys are going to bring to Salisbury not just the good, but the bad, of businesses, and make
Try and get some counsellors
people
on.
know
Put them to task.
entrepreneurship is not just roses at all, and the graph that people go through.
Because you're right, yeah. I mean, if we make out, and some of the stuff you said will be more direct and candid than I think a lot of people coming on. I think you're obviously very, you know your story, you're proud of it, and and I think we all should be. But yeah, I think we need people being candid. This can't be. We didn't want this to be like people would come on and just. Yeah, we do this, and this is what we do.
We're great.
It's been an amazing first 2 months to start the year.
Come and shop here.
Yeah, how is it going, guys? Let's flip this.
It does. You do sort of see, everyone shouting about how good it is, and then suddenly the business closes, and you're like, well, maybe if you'd been a bit more honest about how tough you were going, we want to support people, both, I guess, but also we as humans. I don't want my local town to have no local businesses. I don't know.
And I think that everybody would say the same as well. You're not going to have anybody that's going to want to come to town and then just not have any shops. They're all closed down, except for the big guys.
Although in your world, and I guess I'm talking about hair in general, which is horribly generic. But is there any big corporates, big chains anymore? I mean, obviously Tony and Guy years ago.
Tony and Guy, which have now become
Smith England.
Smith. Sorry, I do know that. I do know them very well as well. I don't know why that went from my mind. They are amazing, and they are, it's Phil Smith. You'll see him in Sainsbury's, you'll see him in Spain.
Trying to get him here as well.
And he's bloody brilliant at what he does, and so's his wife as well, Lou. They had Tony and Guy, and they had Smith England. And Smith England was by the cathedral, and then they had the Tony and Guy, which was the generic. But the truth is, even though Tony and Guy is a very well-known name, we have people in Salisbury that love people, and I think the choice that they made to turn it into Smiths was brilliant because of it's not a franchise, it's more of a personal approach. And the truth is, people of Salisbury do want a personal approach. So we're all so scared of these big corporates, but we have in Salisbury something so special that people do want the personal approach. They want the more love. They don't want to think that they are just one of 1,000. They want to be treated like they are a person, and they're doing a big renovation there. They're doing amazingly. And what they've done by turning basically two into one. So they've got the knowledge of Tony and Guy, but also the business of Smith.
Yeah, sure.
It's amazing.
But also that's really cool to hear. Because you can imagine that some people have you seen that mask where that person's got is it the smiling mask on and behind they're crying?
Because of that,
it almost feels to say it's good to hear you can tell you genuinely feel like that, rather than just they're okay, thinking supporting even people doing the same thing as you. I think
send
is
them
really cool.
clients every week. I send them clients. I book in. She's so used to me messaging saying we're booked up, we can't take them, can you take them? They can take them. It works really well. When I went into this hairdressing industry, there's this weird hairdressers tend to hate each other and salons tend to hate each other, which I've never understood, because we work so hard and we do so many hours and we all have the same problem. So if you were actually friends, you could all talk about
exactly,
it.
Yeah.
But as you do grow, you're not fearing the fact of, is she going to take a client? There's so many heads. Everyone wants a haircut. Everyone wants their hair coloured. A lot of people want hair extensions. You realise that you don't need to be enemies. And then you start to become friends, and it helps you out, because I message Lou and I'm like, can you take this client for me, please? And she said, go on then. You know, it's so easy.
I like that.
Yeah, that's good.
And
That's nice.
I my industry's terrible for it. So I it's all about, you know, people would sell out their own parents to get a listing on a house sometimes, and it's like, well, hang on, why are we not collaborating? Why is it all competition? Why is there no collaboration? Because ultimately, if you collaborate, then the customer at the end is the winner, right? And so I think that's, you know,
I don't really find it that much in marketing. All of the marketing companies that I've spoken to so far are pretty friendly about it.
I think it's to be fair, it's probably in relation to the fact it's a sales industry, you know, and sales, as you kind of do, a bit dog eat dog, isn't it, in some sense? And I do get that, you know, you need to make a choice on who you want to sell your house, but then you need to make a choice on where you go for your hair. And actually, if I don't feel like I'm right for somebody, why aren't I saying, actually, do you know what? I'm not a commercial guy in property, so go speak to them. But part of me thinks, well, they were slagging me off last week, so I don't really want to,
Yes,
you know, do you know what I mean?
I
Like,
get that.
If we actually, so no, I think that's really good to hear. And yeah, I don't, yeah, I feel like, you know, there's always jokes, isn't there? Like vape shops, hairdressers. You know, I feel as though like there's a real good collection of independent. Have any closed down recently? I feel like there used to be
Vape shops.
No, hair. I feel like there was one next to Poundland that closed after being open for a long time.
46, Hair at 46, I think they were called.
Used to be Hands.
And that
before.
was a shock to me because I did my training there many years ago above the shop. They used to do it at night time training, and then they just went. And I was like, where have you gone?
Almost overnight, wasn't it?
But if they voiced that they were having issues, if they had some sort of podcast, if they had some sort of social media presence, then the people of Salisbury would have been able to save them, because the people of Salisbury are such a good community. They will congregate, they will help you. And even if they can't afford to pay for the services, they'll share it. I wish people just voice that they're having issues. Like, I got a massive VAT bill last week. If anybody wants to pay that, please feel free.
I see.
You should
There'll
start.
be a donation link.
Yeah.
You know, we were talking,
Link attached in bio.
we were talking at the start about whether Molly would kick you out if there was a higher financial
Yeah,
offer.
maybe now.
yeah. We'll talk about that afterwards because I like this space.
Yeah.
That's fun.
So the other thing, sort of talking about local businesses and stuff, the other thing that we do is get you to name a couple, 2, 3 local favourites. Maybe not any hairdressers. And not us.
Favourite local businesses?
Yeah.
You've put me on the spot because I have so many.
Good answer.
I really...
Let's move on. No. Where are you going on Saturday night?
favourite local businesses.
And
It's going to be a really awkward pause now.
the chapel is an automated answer which you have to give apparently.
Everybody
I
has
actually-
given a chapel. Yeah.
On that note, what the chapel have done now is amazing for Salisbury. The chapel and Botanic next door, and they're also taking over what was the Rude Giant. We are so lucky to have the person who's taken that on in Salisbury, because that could have went downhill. It could have not been taken over by anyone else, and it could have closed down. And then that is our only club in Salisbury. We are so lucky. So whoever is the landlord of that premises, thank you so much, because not only have they done it up really well, the marketing's really good, their vision is very clear. So we're very lucky.
I believe it's 2 guys from outside of Salisbury, but they've come in and it's still all influenced by Salisbury people.
Yeah.
So I think they still, like, all the staff are still very much Salisbury. I think it's still influenced by the guys the Newberries and things who owned it previously. So yeah, I think you're right. Like, did we say in last week's podcast it might have been Prue, where we said that there was 32,000 clubs? I think 15 years ago, and now there's 900. So we've lost nearly 30,000 clubs in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
You know, nobody's going out anymore like that, like we would have done.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, no, I agree with you there.
We're so lucky to have that. I would say there's a few independent boutiques that we have in Salisbury, which is Oso Boutique and is it Alex Luxury Boutique? I don't know the name exactly, but just over the road. And they are so important to Salisbury because other than that, we would only have the major chains, which would be like Primark, H&M, and New Look. And we need those small independents to give you more care in what you're wearing, the fabrics, the style, and bring into the market what is hot right now, because they know fashion better than anyone. So they are really good. Hairdressing wise, I know you said don't mention it, but obviously Smith England, we're very, very lucky to have, like, Phil Smith is famous, and we actually have him in Salisbury. Like, that is pretty cool.
I'm trying.
And yeah, so there's loads of other businesses, independents, that are trying to get shops and are trying to become something. And that's why I become the president of the Young Chamber of Commerce, because I'm going to help them with my knowledge to... They're stuck right now. They have a business, they have a business idea, they want customers, but they don't know where to go. My job is to push them like I pushed you and just tell them, you've got to go for it. You're either going to go for it or you're not. So if you are going to go for it, follow me and I'll show you how. If not, don't worry.
Yeah.
And
so
I'm
you're dealing with
hoping...
mainly the younger entrepreneurs who are looking for that direction.
So anybody, it can be any age, I don't care, but technically on the actual Chamber of Commerce website, anybody under the age of 35, I will help.
Oh, my class is younger.
I will help build their business and lead them in the right direction to where they need to be, and then also to network them. So I've got something called a buddy system, which we've got the Chamber of Commerce, and then we've got the Young Chamber of Commerce. So my Chamber of Commerce people that have been going for 15 years and have got massive businesses, I will find somebody in the Young Chamber that say they're an IT guy. I will find someone in the Chamber of Commerce which has a massive, business with loads of employees, and I will put them together so that they shadow them, and then my young chamber will learn off the older chamber, and it's really, really cool.
Yeah, that's
That is
brilliant.
really good.
Yeah, that's excellent.
Because Luke mentioned about that he didn't feel as though there was, like, obviously we've got the Chamber of Commerce, which is Salisbury's biggest networking group by country mile, I believe. So that's definitely, but I didn't realise it was that. That's really cool. I didn't realise it was that, because again there is a perception that it's a bit stuffy, and you walk in and you have cake and tea at 6:30 on a Friday once a month, and you sort of walk out. Like, I think that's really cool if you're able to influence young entrepreneurs.
If they've made me president, and and I've got tattoos,
There's no cake and tea.
I've got a scar across my throat. I'm known for being a wild card.
And that was and
the scar on your throat isn't wild card, right?
It's pretty cool though.
It is cool, yeah. It could be wild card.
Yeah, it could
so right
be.
now you could say anything.
Well, one day in London, I was walking down the street.
But you were all okay though, because you obviously recently had some pretty major surgery, right?
Yes, so I had to have my thyroid removed because I had a lump in it.
Oh, Christ.
So they said they have to remove it because they couldn't do a biopsy because I was toxic. Don't you know that is toxic?
Yeah.
I mean, I've had a few people tell me I was. No, I'm joking. My blood was toxic.
You're not,
or something. I don't know. So they had to actually go in and take it all out to then send it off for testing, which was a pretty nerve-wracking few months. It was you're waiting for the results, but they're not going to come yet. And it all came back all clear, which is great. But also I now have this big scar across my throat.
Well, and also you mentioned that your voice is slightly different.
My voice, yeah. So I had the lump was 5, lump, is that the right word? I don't know.
Yeah.
It was 5 centimetres by 5 centimetres, which is the size of a large lime. And it was pushing on my voice box.
Yeah, that's mad.
So I was quite husky, and I thought that's just how I was.
Yeah.
I didn't realise that something was in my throat. And everyone always joked to me, like, you could make some serious money from your voice. Like, it's quite deep, quite husky.
Yeah.
And I always joked about it, but I never actually put 2 and 2 together. And then it was removed, and they said that it was attached on your voice box. So my voice will get higher. And now, sometimes some things I say is
squeaky.
like, and I'm like, oh gosh. Okay, here
So
we are.
watching those training videos back
Are you?
from that long ago, and your voice is a lot huskier then.
Is it? Yeah.
In comparison to what it is now. But I don't think I noticed.
You might want to get
I
some.
didn't
You want to get
notice.
some clips of that, and just,
I know. I need to.
Yeah. There's definitely
I
a
didn't
difference.
realise. Everyone joked, but I didn't realise. But I was very husky. And now when I sing as well, it's like goes really high pitch. I'm like, oh,
yeah, I don't like it.
what is that?
Yeah. Has it given you a new perspective on a few bits, like, or do you feel as though like you already had the right perspective? Because that's quite an intense place to have major surgery,
Yeah.
isn't it? You know.
I think it made me realise that I'm not invincible. I think that when they said like you have to have surgery and you're gonna get it removed. So in the Molly bubble, I run my business, I have a family, I live my same day every day, and then someone can just at the click of the finger say to you, this could be something nasty. You then realise like I'm not invincible. I'm not invincible. And then you start to think, what would I leave behind? I'm very lucky to know that every day I get to help people feel good about themselves. I give wigs for free from my charity. I do a lot of good, but also I've got 2 young children that I'm going to leave behind. It was a crazy time for me, and it made me think a lot about everything. But the truth is you can't stress about something you don't know. And then they gave me the all clear and it was great, but I'm still pretty traumatized by it.
Yeah,
truthfully,
it's
I'm
fresh,
still a
isn't
bit
it?
like, because it was only a few days ago where I got the all clear, but it makes you realize how short life is. And since doing that, you can measure your business in so many different ways. So you can measure your success through financial, which is money. You can measure your success through how many people you help, and you can measure success with many different ways. And I know now that my business, I get pure enjoyment from helping people. Like whether it's helping them grow their business or helping them feel confident. The money side of thing, as long as my bills are paid, I actually could not care less about having the fanciest this, that and the other. There is no incentive for that for me. As long as I've got a house, a roof over the head, a car, it made me realise, like, I think I always did know that, but it just clarified that for me. So that was good.
Yeah, that's great.
You've obviously and to be fair, with the nature of the way you're helping people, that's your legacy, right? Like, I hopefully we don't have to find out anytime soon. And obviously it's great to hear you've had but your legacy is you're helping people in their hardest time.
Yeah.
I think that's so cool. I think it's a big respect to you.
Thank you.
Because there's a lot of people who don't try and make money, and they'll do anything, they'll snake anybody, and they'll stab as many people in the back on the way up as they can. So
That's definitely not you.
Thank you.
So on the note of charity, we also get you to pick a local charity that we will donate £100 to. So far we've had Wiltshire Creative and
Alzheimer's Society.
Yeah.
I would like to donate it to the Rotary Club of Salisbury.
Nice.
Because I'm a part of them.
She can put it in her pocket, aren't we? she says about she's an absolute shark over it.
So the Rotary Club, not many people know about. They are a charity, a part of Salisbury, and they actually they have a community. They have people that work for free for them. Nobody takes a wage. They all work for free, and they do loads of things like the car boot sale in Wilton. So it's the Wilton Rotary Club. They do the car boot sale. They do loads of things to earn loads of money, and even random things as well. They maybe plant like 5,000 plants outside the Wilton house like 6 months ago, like just nice things for the community.
Yeah.
They all work for free, and then they raise a massive amount of money. So like we're in March and we've already given £30,000 away to local charities. So we would, as the Rotary Club, we pay for when somebody wants to start a business and they don't have a marquee, we'll pay for the marquee. Loads and loads of different things. They help some of my customers who need wigs and can't afford one, they would pay for the wigs for them. They do so many things, and they're not known because they're quite a older generation style charity. So they're not all over social media.
Yeah, sure.
We meet every Monday at the White Hart, and we have a meeting about how we're going to make money. Then we make money, and then we have a meeting about who we're going to give it to. And it's very simple and it's very good. So I'd love to give the donation to them because they're
good.
great.
And it's very relative to what we're doing. Obviously,
Yeah,
so it's
sure.
very good. Excellent.
And the final question is, the final question should be the question that Luke asked, which I never remember.
You haven't remembered it again?
No, and it was literally
I think
2 days
I
ago.
remember it. The question for the next person.
Yeah. I just can't remember.
Do you remember what was that question?
And then he took like 20 seconds and then asked a really good one, didn't he?
It was
what did he say? We should have written. Still a bit rusty at this podcast hosting.
Anyway, let's pretend that cut didn't happen.
Yeah.
So the last question that we had from Luke was, where do you get your motivation from?
Trauma.
Trauma. End.
Luke, have a guess. What's that show? Is it Pointless, where you've got to guess the answer you don't think they'll have given? If I gave Luke 20 goes at what you just said.
Trauma.
Yeah.
I should not be allowed on podcasts because I am a social hand grenade.
No, you're a hand grenade.
Truthfully, I think, honestly, how real can I be? Can I be like proper real, or do I need to tone it down a bit?
Real. Just move that mic a bit closer to you.
So,
go real.
I learned recently from the whole like thinking I was going to die situation. I had so much to work out like in my life, and I always wondered what like fueled me, because I run on adrenaline, because no normal person could work 12 hours 7 days a week, more than 12 hours, and everyone's like, Molly, you're mad. And I think it comes from trying to please my father, like trying to make him proud of me. And I had a bit of an issue actually like a year or so ago, because when I stopped talking to my family, they cut me out. I then wasn't trying to please my father. So I lost that motivation. I was like, no.
Yeah.
Like I need to keep working as much as I can. I was like, no, I'm quite happy watching a box set at home and living my best life. But I refueled that motivation through helping people, so like with hair loss and alopecia and chemotherapy and giving free wigs. But you, as an entrepreneur, our motivation comes from something that we wouldn't expect it to, like my pleasing of the father, or you want to prove something. It does actually stem from something. You've actually got to sit down and think about it, because 10 years on in business, when you've got a massive empire, like what happened with me, you would then think when that motivation goes, it would leave you in a really bad situation. So you have to make sure that everything you're doing is actually for you rather than pleasing other people.
Yeah, okay.
It can leave you in a really bad situation.
Yeah,
makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's long, and it's a long-standing thing as well, isn't it? Like that's not gonna. I think part-time motivation or short-term motivation is dangerous.
I had something that wasn't gonna last.
Mm-hmm. So,
yeah. So, and as I said, I feel like there are so many more things that you could talk about, and that we could all talk about. So we'll probably do a part two, Molly Cook, because there's I know a lot of stuff as well, and I just feel like there's so much more for you to say. Right. So, all secrets.
So now you have to, as the final as the final bit here, you have to ask the question to the next guest, and we don't tell you who it is. So you just got to ask a question that you feel is relevant to. It could be a personal question, it could be a business question, it can be.
What do you do every day that improves someone else's life?
Oh my God, that is a great question.
Did you just think of that at the spot?
Yeah. She's
watched them before. She knew.
That's great.
Yeah, that's a fantastic.
That's a good one. Yeah, they're getting better every time. That's brilliant.
And I mean, yeah, because I don't actually know. We've got 2 or 3 people booked in, but I don't know in what order. So here's you guys.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued as to who's going to get
Part
that.
2?
Because that's a good one. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Molly. Appreciate that.
Thank you for having me.
We'll end with your darts.
Yeah.
Don't know if you've seen that bit.
No.
No. So we also have a Top Gear leaderboard. For
darts. Sorry,
yeah.
I thought you said dance. Yeah, I know dance. I thought,
that's the
I
next
can do the worm, but there's no space.
Dan's turning the camera off for that bit. Based on what you said at the start.
We're all going to have a few drinks now. And then the part 2 will be on OnlyFans.
Oh, God. Right.
So we'll do basically throw 3 darts, and then we've got a leaderboard on the right-hand side, and
Cool.
go from there.
Shall I go for it? 1.
Hey, it's not bad. It's not bad darts. They're rubbish score, but not bad darts. You have got 9. You were joint last with Luke.
Yes.
When we get in the flow of it, we'll need some sort of jingle.
Salisbury Business Podcast. Salisbury Business Podcast.
Whoa, just off the cuff?
Yeah.
Did you just think of that?
What is that, though? Why
I'm kidding. It's shit.